So here I am with Luke's wiring harness all spread apart. We're trying to tidy things up and fix some issues. Luke's truck on our Instagram page has the hashtag FFS College Hauler. Why? He's going to college in this. It's a pretty fancy college vehicle, but his grandfather said, when you go to college, I will make sure you have the truck you want. His grandfather has backed up on that promise. However, prior to us getting this truck and starting, his grandfather passed away. So it's definitely an extra special project. Luke's going to get the truck that his grandfather promised him, but at the same time, he's not going to get to see it, but it'll make it all the more special in certain ways. So Luke had a 93 first gen Cummins extended cab 4-wheel drive, and it was okay. It was a pretty nice truck, but it had zero power. It could use some freshen ups here and there. It needed some body work. The body was clean, but had been bed lined on the exterior and didn't look sharp enough. And the suspension had some issues and was a little lower than he wanted, other things like that. So we dug into this truck. This is a brand new 20 over P-pump 12 valve marine cam. It's got power driven injectors, and it's got power driven sourced P-pump. That's a pretty hot rodded pump. Should be good for up to 850 horsepower, even though we're going to set this up now right about 650. And it's got diesel power source compound turbos on the other side over there, and those will be easily able to provide the 650 horsepower while being able to daily drive and tow really well. Very nice, clean compound turbo setup. New 6-inch suspension that we've slightly modified so that it rides a little bit better and fits the vehicle both for function and aesthetics good. These lift kits are fine, but they were made at a time where lift kits couldn't be expensive. They made compromises for things like drive shaft length, and we like to undo some of those things. Make it ride a little bit better, make it fit the truck better, definitely look better, and we're working on some of those things now, but they're pretty much done. This is our bolt-on first Gen Hydraboost Braking Kit, 100% inclusive, and it bolts to your firewall. It'll even lower your pedal to the floor because the pedal doesn't need to be so far above the accelerator. Really nice kit, all inclusive. You can get this one or a little fancier one on our website. We modified the whole core support. It's got a new Mishimoto radiator and a 7.3 Ford Mishimoto intercooler and a kit that we have on the store to be able to bolt it in your first gen. Some modifications required, but basically it turns it into a bolt-in kit, and again that plumbs up to these diesel power source parts really well. So he's got dual Optima batteries. Of course, we consider that a must for any first gen, much less an Optima. Any project in a Rough Stuff Specialties dual Optima battery tray. We are making as many wiring upgrades as we can because these things needed a little bit of wiring help. Got some rigid LED headlights in here. These things are super nice, bright, white, crisp light, and the good thing about them is they're LED, so they don't require you to do a headlight relay to save power going through the ignition switch and headlight switch because they don't draw any power anyways. Really nice upgrade. He didn't have us do much to the interior. We're going to save that for another time, but it does have a dual disc 3250 South Bend clutch behind his nice NV 4500. We have a few things going on under the dash just to spruce up some new wiring, but just like all these old trucks, you got to get rid of all the old user added wiring. So we're cleaning up a little under there. You can see his Edge CTS monitor up here. Very stock interior, nothing fancy, but should be pretty good for now. I'd say that we're going to probably dig into this interior in the next couple of years when he wants to put some leather seats and some new carpet and upgrade some lighting here. But pretty clean, not quite up to the standards of the rest of the truck, but good enough for now, and should make him happy. So the rear of this truck's not too complicated. We went ahead and did skyjacker springs so they didn't have too tall of a block. Once we get the rear weighted, we have a set of rear traction bars going on that are our traction bar kit through Rough Stuff Specialties. Of course, we got some 35, 1250 on Hostile 20x12s. That's going to look real sharp against this Western brown paint that Luke picked out. Good choice, Luke. We like it. We got an Air Dog 4G on here for fuel supply. We plumb these in with a sump so that there's no problem with a quarter tank issue or anything like that. This is going right down into a sump. The sump's blocked off, and it will draw this tank down to 0 fuel before you have any issue with fuel consumption. His exhaust was okay, so we left most of the exhaust through a JMO tip on there because there was some modifications at the tail that didn't look good. We got rid of those. I welded his hitch up in between the frame rails because he's going to get our Farfromstock rear roll pan like bumper, and it'll be body color, and it'll just get notched right up over top of this, and that hitch will be up high instead of hanging down low like a lot of them do. And yes, it'll be a little bit on the high side. This rear end will come down when we get it all assembled. But I've hauled with a hitch up here on many trucks before, just get a decent drop. It works perfectly fine. We put some Bilstein 50 on here with reservoirs, so he's got something that looks pretty. So he's going to put a truck cap on this because he's going to do plenty of camping in his college days. And since we don't have ABS on the back of this truck anymore, I went ahead and took a taillight connector and plugged it into here, and I'm going to extend these wires up inside the corner of his bed and hanging out so he can have a USB port and a lighter socket and some lights probably on the inside of this cap. He had a cargo light, but since he's going to run a cap, I've made a cap for that. I'm going to plug that off, and his power will be inside of his cap. Otherwise, the only other wiring changes in the back of the truck are these rigid backup lights that are going in the bumper. And I've got those on my own truck, and it is so nice to be able to put your truck in reverse with tinted windows or not, and anything behind you, it's going to light the rear of this truck up like it's daytime. Real enjoyable backing up. We did all copper nickel brake lines on this truck so that there'll be no issues with rust basically ever on brake lines. You don't have to replace those again. And we did a rear disc brake conversion on this. That's a combination between the Rough Stuff Specialties kit we use and some other parts to make it so this truck had an e-brake. These are e-brake calipers and e-brake cables to hook up to the stock setup. Real nice brake setup in the rear. So it's a pretty mild truck for the sake of mods, but at the same time pretty extensive. And Luke should be able to go to college in a truck that is old but new. He doesn't even know how good this truck's going to run because he's had a stock VE pump truck that was so slow, neither of us knew if this truck was limited slip or not because it didn't have enough power to find out if it could spin one wheel or two. It happens to be open. We're going to fix that. And he's now going to have 650 horsepower. And that'll probably be right at 1,300 foot-pounds of torque. It'll run super cool, no EGT issues, and it will burn these tires at will. Probably more fun in third gear than he ever thought you could have. And right at the limit where his transmission will probably put up with it. NV4500s are pretty strong, but third gear will find its weak point right around there or beyond. And if he goes with as much power as the truck will be capable of in the future, we'll probably have to switch to a fully built automatic so that it can handle that. But the 5-speed will be a lot of fun, and I think at 650, the weight of his truck will help it live.